Welcome to tacosandgeeks.com. Justin here, and Sean is here as well. And today we are going to be reviewing Venom, Let There Be Carnage. As always, I give you a brief synopsis, so here we go. After finding a host body in investigative reporter Eddie Brock, the alien symbiote must face a new enemy, Carnage, the alter ego of serial killer Cletus Kassidy. And wow, you know what? It's a fun film. It's a fun film. I enjoyed it for what it was. If you are going in there hoping for a very dark tale, this is the same tone as the first movie. I agree with a lot of the other reviewers where they said, "Look, if you like the first one, you're gonna like the second one." I definitely enjoyed myself. It's a fun popcorn flip. Sean, what are your thoughts?
So yeah, the movie was extremely fun. I mean, I think anybody going in there expecting some like spectacular, like Avengers Infinity War type movie is mistaken. You're gonna have to go in there and you're gonna see like just a fun. It's got its rated R moments, but you're gonna have like just a fun, great time laughing. This is a movie you should go in there with friends, and you should just expect to have like a good time. Don't take it too seriously. You're definitely gonna wait for the different Easter eggs, and if you're a fan of Spider-Man and you know the story behind Venom, there are a lot of Easter eggs that you can unpack in there. There's a lot of uh, references to characters that you're gonna be like, oh shit, that character is, oh damn, like they're showing this. Like, I mean, definitely, I was sitting there like, oh, you're introducing this character soon? Okay, cool, no problem. But it's definitely a fun movie. That's I'm not gonna say like it's great. It's just a fun movie to go see. Definitely something you just pick up somebody, go out on a date with, go have dinner, and then just watch the movie.
Yeah, if you're like really, like I said, if you're looking for like this deep character study piece, like some of the Marvel movies, like this reminds me, and I think we said this on our first Venom review a couple years back. This reminds me of those '90s era superhero flicks, and this is just a nice callback and throwback to where it's just a simple plot, simple story. You don't really get much characterization with certain new characters that's introduced. It because the movie's short. I mean, we're used to having superhero movies now going 2 hours and 30 minutes, 2 hours and 20. This is an hour and 30 minutes you're getting. That's it. It goes straight to the point. The pacing is fast. It goes from point A to point B to point C. Next thing you know, you're done and you're looking at the beautiful after credits, which we will talk about in the spoiler section. I will say spoiler alert when we get to that part. But I thought Tom Hardy once again did great. The chemistry between him and himself, pretty much, is pretty good. I mean, he's really doing good as Venom. I did like the little hints of this more darker voice tone that he showed in certain moments where I think when it comes to that inevitable showdown with a certain spider, we're gonna see that type of side of Venom that I think everybody's building up and waiting for to see. Woody Harrison as Cletus Cassidy as Carnage. Not saying perfect casting, but he did damn good as Cletus Cassidy and Carnage. I thought he did pretty good. And Naomi Harris as Shriek, pretty good. I mean, for what she was able to work with, she reminded me a little bit of Tila Doma, her performance in Pirates of the Caribbean at certain points, but she did great as well.
Well, I'm gonna say no. Woody Harrelson was the perfect pick for Carnage because if when you do watch the movie, he gives some great speeches throughout. It's when he's talking about his life, when he's talking about his childhood, when he's talking about everything in the movie. Now, this is not so much of a spoiler, but I will say one thing this movie did take from it took from a lot of the classic '90s Spider-Man, Venom storylines because the ending was from a classic Spider-Man Venom storyline, which is kind of like Venom's end, which everybody thinks was Venom's end, where Spider-Man basically tricks Venom and Eddie Brock to an island, and Spider-Man fakes his death kind of give Venom peace and for him to like live his life out peacefully. They kind of filmed it as if it was the '90s Spider-Man cartoon or comic book because there are a lot of references to it to make it look like it was a '90s comic book. But what I will say is there are a lot of Easter eggs to uh, future characters that are coming into it. So I'll leave that to the spoiler section for anybody who wants to hear it. So I'm going to turn that back over to Justin.
And just one more thing before we get into the spoiler section, and just want to piggyback with what Sean just said. That's exactly what it reminded me of. It reminded me of the Spider-Man TS. This reminded me of like it would be a Spider-Man cartoon episode, like the way it was done, the way the pacing was, and the action was pretty good as well. But we're gonna get into the spoiler territory and talk this big mid-credit scene that everybody was going absolutely crazy over. So one more time, spoiler. After this, everything gets spoiled from the movie, so you can leave now. Before we get to the spoilers, let's just give our ratings here. We don't do stars no more, so it's either you're gonna see it, wait for Blu-ray, or you're gonna recommend to skip it. I will say if you like the first one, go see it in the theaters. If you wasn't a huge fan of the first one, wait for the Blu-ray or rental or when it hits to the streaming service.
I'm going to say see it. Even if you didn't like the first one that much, this one was funnier and had a little more dialogue. So I would say see it. If you weren't a fan of the first one, I doubt you're gonna want to go see the second one. So yeah, wait for Blu-ray but if you're a fan of the MCU, you're gonna want to go see this. So without further ado, again, like Justin said, spoiler. Get ready for the spoilers of this movie.
Okay, so Cletus is dead because Venom just said "fuck that guy," so and ate his head. So what happens in the post-credit scene is that Venom gets transported to the MCU. So right dab in the middle of the end of Far From Home, he's watching the broadcast from J. Jonah Jameson like the rest of the world is, and now Venom's in the MCU now, and he looks at TV and he says that guy because he sees Tom Holland Spider-Man, and we are off to the races, and this is the perfect timing with No Way Home coming out in December. This came out basically October for those who are going to watch it on October 1st. So perfect timing for Venom to come out right before this movie to just keep the momentum going for Spider-Man.
So it's great spoiler, but it's more than that. Basically, it seems like Venom picked up right where the previews that we see picks up right after Doctor Strange casts a spell, because Venom is actually talking to Eddie Brock and he's actually telling him about the symbiote's history. And as he's giving him a glimpse of the history, the room starts to shake. And then he goes, "I didn't do this." And then they go from being in the room they're supposed to be to being in a room in the MCU universe. Also, another spoiler, they did introduce 2 other symbiotes, but unless you're a fan of the comic, you won't know. So first person they introduced was Shriek, which is one of the symbiotes that they have when they had Eddie locked up and they took pieces of the symbiote off and they made 5 other five other symbiotes for other soldiers to inhabit, and they can have their own like Venom symbiote army. Also, it seems they're going to introduce Carnage's son, Toxin, into the universe. And I should have known something was up when I saw the name of the cop that was in the beginning of the movie. And I was like, wait, that's the name of the cop who eventually becomes Toxin. And sure enough, he does become, you see a glimpse of possibly him becoming Toxin. We won't know for sure unless Sony makes enough and they're going to make another Venom movie. So look out for that. One of the Easter eggs is that you're probably going to see Toxin in the next movie.
Yeah, so I mean, this is just a theory what's going to happen for No Way Home. So, I mean, it's obviously now definitely confirmed that at least Venom is in there. Of course, we know we have Doc Octopus, Green Goblin, Willem Dafoe is obviously returning back because we heard his laugh, we heard his little cackle, we saw the Goblin Bomb. Jamie Foxx already confirmed he let that slip that he's back as Electro. Of course, Michael Keaton's still out there somewhere, and we might possibly get Sandman and the Lizard. So this one's going to be a very packed Spider-Man movie, and of course, probably the returns of Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. So this thing sets up very, very well. For those who are ready, for something for the Spider-Verse, this is the moment you've been waiting for, because it's gonna be one hell of a ride.
And again, kudos to Marvel. They, at times when I think, okay, they're just going to put out crap, they're phoning this one in. They actually did a really good job bringing this together and bringing it out. So kudos to Marvel for doing what they did. I mean, this could have just been a complete shit show, but they cleaned up a fun movie with. They went from fun to holy shit, this is gonna be in the MCU, and fans and the little fans that were in the theater clapped at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
So you know this was not a terrible movie for whatever it is. I know there are probably some fans are like, "Oh, this is crap," but sometimes I think people forget that this is a comic book movie. And you shouldn't take it this seriously. It should just be fun, and this was fun.
Yep. And that's pretty much for the review. We're gonna wrap this up. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Also follow us on Instagram at Tacos and Geeks, Twitter at Tacos and Geeks, Facebook.com. You can give us a like there at Tacos and Geeks blog, and of course you can subscribe and watch our Twitch at twitch.tv/The Tacos and Geeks. This is Justin and Sean saying, later days. Catch you on the next one.